Hello, I'm Lewis Johnson, and we're here at Lacon Flea Market, and just right across from Smith Cafe. And my guest today is Johnny Johnson. No relation, but he's a good friend of mine, and he's the local expert, I could say. Is that what you think?
Maybe one of them.
Of cast iron. So yeah, but hey, we're here. Lacon opens at 5 o'clock in the morning. Just come early and don't worry about getting breakfast because Smith Cafe's got some really great breakfast here.
Absolutely.
What you've eaten over there?
I've had the bacon, egg, and cheese and the sausage, egg, and cheese. It's outstanding. It's good stuff.
Yeah, do you put mustard and jelly?
I'm just straight bacon, egg, and cheese, sausage, egg, and cheese.
I like the mustard and jelly.
I like the pork, bro.
Yeah.
I like the pork.
Yeah, but hey, they're open around 6 o'clock, but they got some great food. They also have lunch, and it's a great place to come and just find some really unique items. But Johnny, you look for cast iron, right?
Well, that's one of my hobbies. I collect cast iron, and I buy other stuff. I have a couple of antique booths, and you never know what you're gonna find here. But I really, my passion a little bit is the cast iron. I got into cast iron about 20-something years ago, into mainly just using it.
Yeah.
But then I got into collecting about 10 years ago and studying the various foundries and what to look for and stuff. And it's turned out to be a real fun hobby for me.
So Alabama has a couple of existing foundries that have carried over. Like I know Birmingham, BSR.
Yeah.
I call them B-hams. Somebody would pick up and say it's a B-ham, or Birmingham actually started here.
Yeah, Birmingham started down in Red. My favorite is the Red Mountain stuff. It was named after the Red Mountain there in Birmingham. That foundry went out in about '89.
Right.
And then Martin over here in Florence produced cast iron cookware up to about '52. And then they made stoves and stuff a little later on. But now up in South Pittsburgh, the Lodge foundry still produces cast iron cookware to this day.
So where was the Lodge originally?
The Lodge foundry was originally about a block north. It was called Black Lock.
Black Lodge?
Yeah, Black Lock. It was about a block north from where it was. That foundry burned in the early 1900s, and when they rebuilt, they built it a block south and named it Lodge.
Now, Birmingham moved to Atlanta at some point. Is that right?
Well, actually, Atlanta Stove Works is the parent company of Birmingham Stove and Range.
Right.
They got so big with their cast iron cookware, they saw the need to move to make that foundry operational in Birmingham. So that probably happened in around the early 20s when they built the BSR foundry down there.
So you come here and I guess call yourself a picker or a looker, or what do you?
Yeah, I'll get out early, and I don't know. Sometimes I get asked, "What are you looking for?" And sometimes I say, "Well, I don't know till I see it."
Till you see it, right?
Yeah. And originally I started out being a vendor. I would come and set up and vend and sell stuff, and then I would pick a little when I got a chance. But over the years, I've become more of a shopper since I've gotten the antique booths. But they're very fun. They're they can be profitable if you buy some things, and then for the homeowner, there's things that you can actually use that you can pick up here, save you a little money. It's a very neat deal.
And it's here at Lacon, which I imagine is probably one of your main picking places you'd like to check out.
Well, it's my neighbor picking place.
Yeah.
I live real close by, now I travel. I'll go to some of the markets up in Tennessee, and occasionally I'll go down to Scott's flea market down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I do Collinsville, and I do Tanny Hill, that's down around Tuscaloosa, and then I do a few markets in Mississippi around.
So you get around.
Oh yeah, we now that I'm semi-retired, we travel a good bit. Me and my wife love to get out and pick, go to markets, long yard sales.
Yeah, but here at Lacon, it's really it's a even if you're not a picker or something, it's just a good Saturday or Sunday.
Absolutely.
Just to hang out with the family and see what's available. I mean, you can get a lawnmower here.
Yeah.
You get a tiller here. You can get dishes here. I mean, anything that you could think about. I know I've got a still in the box. It was like a park bench made of wood and cast iron. I got it for $10, and it was worth over $100. And I took it home and put it together. But I actually bought it here. Got a really great pressure cooker here. Got that for $10, and I actually flipped that and sold it for $200.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So, but you're really into the cast iron, is what you like to keep up with and stuff like that. So as a collector and a seller, what are you looking for? What type of brands and things you're looking for?
Well, the most popular pieces would be Griswold. Now they're very well known. Most of your vendors are going to know that that's a higher end piece and a more collectible piece, and you know, you don't see that as much down here as a Northern Iron, but it'll pop up occasionally.
Yeah.
Now I collect the older Birmingham Stove and Range because basically they don't have numbers on them. I mean, they have numbers, but they don't have names and stuff on them. And you can still find those at reasonable prices.
Right.
You know, obviously, you know, when you're buying dirty iron, as I say, you'll get a piece that's damaged once you clean it, but you know, if you buy enough, you'll wind up every now and then with a piece that you know may not be favorable. But
right.
you know, you gotta kind of love the hobby to buy enough to really make it to where you can collect some and sell some to pay for what you collect. So it all works out. But you got Griswold, Wagner, you got Favorite, you got Vollrath, Birmingham Stove and Range, Martin, and most of those are the ones I just mentioned would be your more available pieces.
Now, when people look for like Birmingham, the most distinctive thing about the Birmingham is kind of like the triangle point in the handle.
That's the most common feature that Birmingham is recognizable by. To have that wedge on the back of the handle.
But what gets difficult is when you're trying to find out the actual time frame that something's made or what series it comes out of. That's where everybody thinks like the internet has spoiled everything, but it's really useful, in that way. You know, like with my business, fleamarketpro.com is part of the internet, and it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of some things, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of useful information on the internet, and you know, and honestly, you if you're in some of the selling groups, you know, that are on Facebook and stuff, it's kind of, you'll learn as you go. You know, there's a lot of different stages in the cast iron collecting. You know, a lot of people just get into it. They just primarily want something good to use and cook in. And then you got people that, you know, they like to buy if they can clean it and restore it.
Hang it on the wall.
Yeah, they'll do that. I restore. I use E-tanks and food grade lye and stuff to restore pieces, and then obviously I have to flip a few because you know I try to get to where I'm not real heavy in my collection.
Right.
So it all works out, and you got a wide variety of collectors, and you know the internet's just part of it. You'll eventually have to deal with it.
I have bought a few pieces. You've actually bought some pieces from me.
Yes, sir.
And it's kind of like you got to kind of have a passion for it or really want to do it, because you'll spend several hours, you know, doing a batch of cast iron.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, sometimes what you sell it for really don't break out for.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
Sometimes it does, and sometimes you clean up and like, oh, that ain't what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know,
it's definitely a labor of love, and you know, if you like cooking in it, if you know,
it's nothing like cooking in cast
you'll
iron.
meet a lot of guys that, you know, I know tons of cast iron enthusiasts, you know, and I see a lot of them here, and I see a lot of them in Nashville and different places, and I get a lot of calls about, hey, can you ID this piece for me?
My brother-in-law said, I call my brother-in-law and say, hey, call Johnny, send him these pictures and tell me what I got. And I mean, it's good to have a network of friends to be able to do that, you know. And here at Lacon Flea Market, it's a tight group of sellers. I mean, you got people who are retired, and some people do this for a living here, and some people just do it because they enjoy the social aspect of it all, you know. But everybody's saying there's a lot of people in Decatur that have never heard of Lacon. You know, it's like you'd be surprised, you know. And so I encourage people to say, hey, you really need to go check out the flea market here. And it's just right outside, south of Falkville. I like to say, depending on which way you're going on 31, when the 4-lane ends, you're there. When the 2-lane turns into 4-lane, you're there. It's like kind of like at that little spot, you know? But when you look around, you'll be surprised at what you find. And we were talking earlier about a Pacific piece which you didn't sell and you didn't find, but actually was found here at Lacon. And it's like the holy grail of cast iron.
Yeah.
If you want to share that.
Yeah, I've got, as we said earlier, I know quite a few of the guys here, and I'm acquaintance with a guy that actually found an 1891 Griswold spider here a couple springs ago, and he cleaned the piece, and it turned out to be a pretty exceptional piece. It was bought here on a trailer for just a few, like 10 or 15 bucks, but turned out to be that 1891 spider, depending on condition, to the Griswold collectors that are high-end buyers, they can go from $1,000 for a truly damaged up piece, all the way to $8,500 for a pristine piece. So,
like when you figure that on a net gain, if you buy something for, it's like 50,000% on something like that.
You're not going to do that every day,
oh, no.
obviously.
Yeah.
But the fun's in the hunt. You get out. I always tell people I have a pretty extensive Red Mountain collection, and it's hard for me to find a piece that would go in it. But I always look. So, it's just I can't pass by a table of cast iron without looking at every piece, and then a lot of times I'll get asked if they know me. They'll say, well, "Tell me what this is. Tell me what I got."
Yeah. So when you say you're looking, which I created fleamarketpro.com specifically for the vendors and the shoppers to kind of bring them together. Like, it's kind of like being able to do early shopping before you come to a flea market.
Sure.
Or even when you're at a flea market, a shopper can actually go to the Lacon flea market on the site, and they can start looking specific vendors.
Absolutely.
Or they can have their favorite vendor, and they can see what that vendor has. That's a value that's, when we talk about the internet, there's really no thing like it. It's just totally a brand new. Yeah. And the whole concept is real new. Like, there's no site like it. So you say it's a step saver. What other value would you say it's just for that?
Well, I mean, I just use what I'm into, for example, since I buy some antiques and then some cast iron. If somebody had a piece, showed a piece on Flea Market Pro, I could contact them and say, "Look, man, I've been looking for that."
And you can contact them.
I've been looking for that.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. So, it's a step saver in that regard, and it gives the vendor an opportunity to post some of their better stuff.
Right.
And then it's just another avenue of being able to capitalize on their efforts.
And it puts more eyes on it. And the more eyes on it, the more value.
Yeah.
And especially when like if you got 100 pieces or something, you got a set price. But if you have something that's just that one item, and only one person wants it, well, there's not as much value if you have that one special, unique item, and 10 people are looking at it. I, as a vendor and a buyer, but as a vendor, when I would use fleamarketpro.com, if somebody contacted me and said, "I want that piece," and I said, "Well, it's here," and then you tell me, "Well, I'm going to pay you exactly what you're asking for it," I'm going to tell them, if you're not here by 9 o'clock, it's back on the table.
There you go.
Because you don't want to sit and hold your piece like if you go to the yard sale sites or something like that. How many times you get stood up or stuff like that? That's the option here. You're at the market, and if they don't show, put it back out there, because you want to get your value for it. That's the whole point of being in business. So
another way of looking at it too, and cast iron for me, a lot of people, they'll know that's what I do, or what other guys buy. They'll hold them pieces anyway.
Right.
Like for guys a lot of times they'll hold them for they're cast iron guys. They know that's going to be the most knowledgeable. That's probably the people that's going to buy the most from it. You know. A lot of times if somebody just wants something to cook in, they don't really care what foundry.
Foundry, right?
They're kind of concerned about condition and size. You know, well, I need this. I need an omelet skillet, or I need something to cook cornbread in. You know, but the vendor needs that buyer that's a little deeper sometimes.
Yeah, a little more knowledgeable.
That's where Flea Market Pro could come in handy, not just in cast iron, but in all items for sale.
So I was talking to you earlier, and I asked you. Johnny, can you remember the first time you came to Lacon here, right outside of Falkville?
Yeah, I'll be 60 this year, and my dad brought me down here when I was probably 10 or 12, along about there. He had tilled up a spot and put in a garden, and he had a guy come with a tractor and disc a spot, and he needed a tiller, and so we came in here. He bought hoes and rakes and bought a tiller and bought different items to work a garden, and then he put me to work with him. And
he handed you the hoe and the rake, and he ran the tiller, right?
That was my first experience here about 50 years ago. So I've been coming to this market for about 50 years off and on.
So Lacon has been here a while. Like I was saying, not everybody knows about Lacon. Your older people that are from Decatur and the surrounding area, they know, but a lot of people are moving into the Huntsville and the Decatur area due to just all the industry that's here, and we just want to, if you see this, invite you to come on out here and check some things out and find some deals. You may see Johnny or me walking around because we just kind of like hanging out at flea markets, and it's a good family experience. And like I said, just walk over to Smith Cafe and get you some coffee or a soda or a biscuit. If it's later on in the afternoon, they got some really good hamburgers, really great prices, and just check it out. And check out the fleamarketpro.com. It's going to be a great site. I got over 2,500 flea markets listed. If you're watching this and your market is not on there, there's an email address there. Just contact me. I will get your market right there on the site. And I've really enjoyed talking to you. It's been a good experience. And you got anything you want to say just before we wrap it up?
No, I will say this with the current, market, like going to town and going to there's nothing wrong with supporting your local, brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
But stuff's getting really expensive, and if you can find something through Flea Market Pro or find something on the lot here at Lacon that's a good usable item and save yourself a little bucks, you can buy a steak instead of a hamburger.
There you go. So this is a little. You saw the hat here. This is my little gift for Johnny being my guest here. Fleamarketpro.com, bringing vendors and shoppers together. So check it out, and I appreciate you being here, Johnny.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man.